I wasn't all the way sure, but now that I'm seeing you up close, sure. It's you. Oh, come on, man. Everywhere. You're on the billboards, on the TV. I used to have one of your matchbooks.
You got me mixed up with someone. My name is Takovic.
Gene Takovic.
Sorry.
I know who you are. You know who you are. Let's just get past that. Once again, and do the point.
Better Call Saul.
In the very first episode of Better Call Saul, Saul Goodman's world was entirely enveloped in the color black and white, a contrasting lens of Saul in which we usually associate him with vibrant colors. Many interpretations can arise from such as the absence of color represents the decline in his happiness or mental well-being, as evidenced by the intro slowly lacking color in every passing season. We are introduced to Saul Goodman in the form of Gene Takovic, an identity that he currently possesses in order to escape from the consequences and his unavoidable confrontation of his own demise after meeting the great Heisenberg. So, who is Gene Takovic, and how does this character add another identity to Saul Goodman? In the scenes sprinkled throughout the series, we see snippets of Gene Takovic's identity slowly becoming noticeable to those around him, and he could no longer play as Gene Takovic since people were identifying him as Saul Goodman. In this life-threatening situation, he tried to call the vacuum cleaning guy to help him change his identity once again, but found out that it was double the price, since it is much more complicated to go through this process a second time. So, he took it in his own hands in order to make things right, which is explored in Season 6, Episode 10. In a sense, you could see this as a way of him getting tired of running away or confronting his worst fears. Throughout Better Call Saul and even in Breaking Bad, Saul Goodman or Jimmy McGill loved to cut corners and cheat in order to get what he wanted without confronting his problems head to head. Cutting corners and cheating the system, in a sense, is a form of running away from reality and societal norms. So, in this episode, he butts heads with the taxi driver through his grandmother and used his over-the-top personality in order to be seen by her as a special guest. So, after putting on his act, he confronts the taxi driver, Jeff, to get him what he wanted, which was to assist him in getting into the life of crime. So, they decided to steal expensive clothes from the clothing store to help them get into the so-called game and let them get a taste of the tip of the iceberg as successful criminals. Though this is something Jimmy McGill and Saul Goodman would have inevitably for their own greed and desire, this act was completely different. As you can see, the colors are still black and white throughout the entire scene, even when Gene Takovic was in it in the criminal act. He measured the perimeter of the clothing store, timed the security guards, and watched the cameras in order to meticulously calculate this so it has a successful outcome. A very typical Slip and Jimmy thing to do. But the remainder of the entire episode in black and white may show that he still was not happy like he used to be. Why? It was revealed at the end that he devised this plan in order to set the taxi driver and his accomplice up. He didn't do it for money or satisfaction, but to put the final nail in the coffin of his unavoidable past. He purposely told them to rent a truck outside the state, so the truck crossed state lines and caught them all on camera. If they were to rat him out that he was Saul Goodman, then he has something under his belt to get back at them. He confronted wannabe criminals with a criminal tactic. Instead of running away and becoming who he wasn't again, he devised a master plan in order to put on his final act, in order to continue to lead his life as Gene Takovic. In this sense, Gene Takovic's identity is the post-Jimmy McGill and Saul Goodman, with a much matured depth to his character since he executed his decisions and act by learning from his past. Although he does have temptations to go back to his old self and continue to carry out criminal and deceitful activities, he knows that he needs to stop running away and face reality by leading a normal life. Gene Takovic was probably Jimmy's self-reflective period of his life. He detests Chuck for continually admonishing him for cutting corners, and so he changed his name to practice under Saul Goodman in order to completely deny this and run away from the fact that Chuck was right. Kim Wexler exacerbated this since she left him because Jimmy and her would only make people around them worse. So he ran off and fully embodied Saul Goodman as a coping mechanism to escape his Jimmy McGill past. After Breaking Bad, he became Gene Takovic by accepting the fact he was wrong all along. By this point, it was already too late, as he continued to live in regret in black and white.